everybody, and welcome to tonight's episode of Dyer's Place. With me, usually, as always, kind of, maybe, is Mike.
And put all those qualifiers on there since I've been a little less reliable over the latter part of the year, but yes, I'm here tonight.
You missed a whole stream. It's not that bad.
It's just one.
Yep, and joining us is one of our previous special guests, Sam.
Hey everybody,
Yeah.
nice to be back, Rob. Thanks for doing this.
No problem. So, let's see who's here. Raven, how's it going?
Hey, howdy. What is up?
Yeah. So, I think we'll, before we get right into the subject, which, as you can see, is the religion and gaming stream, just talk about some unrelated stuff, because it has been a little while since the last time we streamed. And honestly, the reason for that is because my life kind of went sideways over the past month or so. It has not been fun. First, I nearly died, and then I had to have eye surgery. Yay! And this is all, taking me away from doing other stuff like streaming, for example. But I'm definitely on the mend now. So,
Stay on there, damn it.
On his way to.
Yep. So I just have to keep going.
And we hope you keep going for a very long time, man.
Yeah, me too. I'm not anxious to go ahead and leave just yet. Besides, I have a book to finish. 2 books, actually. Which, to kind of... what's the word I'm looking for here? Well, just to let everyone know, this is going to be the last stream we'll be running for a little while. Oh, thanks, Raven. I will do my best to keep rolling. But yeah, what with the holidays being here, where I'm putting the streams on hiatus for the rest of the month, and then after that, we're going into kind of a reduced streaming mode. To be once in a great while after this, until I get the rough draft for that first book done. And then maybe we'll come back and do a little more. At least more than, say, once every 2 months or something like that. I haven't decided exactly how it's going to go yet. So, anyway. So, Raven, we coming through okay? Oh, he'll post there. Anyway, what have you guys been up to?
I mean, we have been finishing up the end of the year at work and Christmas parties, and so my mind has been full of that. But I'm gonna be honest with you, like we were planning on doing this stream much earlier, and you gave us quite the scare. I mean, we're glad that we're able to actually have this stream, because when we had to call it off last minute, it was very touch and go. And I just want to underscore that, like, I can't speak for Mike, but for myself, I was sitting here going, is like this going to go a really dark route? And I'm just glad that we're all just sitting here and doing this instead of some of the other alternatives that might have come to pass.
Agreed. How about you, Mike?
Diddly shit, same as always. I say unseriously because, no, my mood's been, I don't know, very, very unpredictable. It's like, hey, what does the lottery wheel land on? Am I a snarky jerk today? Am I a overly sympathetic blob of tears or whatever? I don't know. It is what it is. I just I feel a little out of it tonight, but I think / hope I'll be ready for the thing here. That's the thing that we're doing tonight with the subject that I'm not particularly educated in, but am interested to learn more about. So,
Oh, we got plenty for you to talk about too.
yeah. I can talk games, and if there's been crosses in them, maybe I can ramp off of that.
So, that being said, I wonder who else is going to show up tonight. Hey, does Snarb know we're doing this?
Yeah, I did link into it. He let me see. He said he does want some time to himself tonight, so he's not sure how much he's. Oh wait, there he is. Okay, hello.
That answers that question.
Yep. I do. That's fine. You do what you got to do, Snarb. And
That yar.
I do know that Mo will not be joining us tonight.
Oh shoot.
Yeah,
What's she okay?
oh, she's fine. She's just really feeling worn out after the events of today. I don't know what those events are, but that's what she said. She said she hopes you have a good stream.
Well, it's December. I feel like everyone's just kind of out of it, and I mean I know I am, but
Well,
shrug.
I'm tired of feeling out of it. I want to, well, you know what I want to do.
Yeah, feel into it. That sounds weird, but yes.
Yes, that and right. It's been killing me.
Mm.
Yeah, but yeah, I guess what do they call it now? Seasonal affective disorder?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I thought. Yeah. Anyway, why don't we go ahead and kick things off then? Sam, where would you like to start?
I don't know. I think, as I mentioned, like earlier in the direct messages when we were kind of spitballing things around, I think probably the best place to start would be like the overlap of how gaming came about in the same kind of era as the Satanic Panic and all of the attendant things that affected the gaming industry as a result of that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, we could just start spitballing that from there and go from there.
So one could say, in the beginning.
I mean, you got, and I experienced the Satanic Panic from the inside, as it were, because I grew up in a very evangelical home, and I got the short end of the stick in a lot of ways. We had a bunch of stuff banned in our household, and video games were kind of always on the borderline. I was able to play Mario, but Zelda was kind of frowned upon, particularly because of its use of crosses and um, the triangle and Trinity kind of symbol. So it was always on the fence. But I know that this affected the gaming industry in a number of different ways. And you might be more familiar with that because I was just looking at things from the inside, and it was very much of a moral thing.
Yeah.
I don't know as much about the history of that in the gaming industry as a whole. I could speak to my own experience, but um, what would where would you want to go with that?
Well, first, hello, Sharon. I see you made it.
What's up?
And let's see. Well, where to begin? Back during the early days, late 70s, early 80s, there, well, really wasn't much that was done. I mean, really anything that could be objected to was very few and far between. You had the occasional horror game, but were blocks chasing around other blocks.
Yeah, that makes it very difficult to have much more than just like um, stick figure um, flipbook animation style gaming.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so there's not a whole lot more. But then, you have people that push the boundaries with some of those games as well. Um,
You're not kidding. Look at Mystique. I think every game they did was just kind of a travesty.
Yeah.
not only in gameplay but in offensiveness in at least one case. So pretty much anybody was going to object to that.
Right.
Yeah.
It took until you got to like the 8-bit era before things started really um, being paid attention to by the religious community as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like I said, my experience with this is very much from the inside. And um, the really ironic part, and this is something that kind of like hit me when you and I were discussing this um, for one of your books and for one of the um, pieces that I submitted to one of your books, was that like the games that you would think would be accepted by the community weren't. For example, Ghouls and Ghosts or Ghosts and Goblins or whatever um, version of that you want to point to, you would think that you've got like a holy warrior with a sword in full armor
Yeah.
going against evil creatures prevailing. That would be something that people would latch on to. No,
Exactly.
not
Yeah.
in the slightest.
No. And it's like Castlevania was another one,
Oh yeah,
which it's kind of
I mean,
surprising. Something you got to consider.
I, it
Go.
really is. When you stop and think about it, it really is.
Mm-hmm. Now, consider this: when Nintendo brought the NES over here, uh, they did look at what was objectionable in America, which may not have been objectionable to the Japanese, and
Right.
so they did put out their own set of guidelines because no over religious imagery and that kind of thing. That didn't stop some people from slipping stuff past them, but you weren't going to see games like Devil World, for example. That's one.
Right.
I think the only Miyamoto game which never made it to the U.S. And it's like on the surface, it's just a Pac-Man clone. A couple of different variants in gameplay, and you control basically what looks like a little dragon kind of thing. But
Right.
the maze is being controlled by a devil who's trying to do you in with his little minions who are just like weird cyclops things, and the only way you can destroy them is by picking up a cross and turning them into eggs and eating them. I don't know how that works
And
exactly, but it does.
I don't either, but your point about the cross power up is very, very valid. Like going back into the whole thing about Castlevania, because one of the cross power ups does exactly that. You pick up the Holy Cross, and it like zaps everything on screen. It's like the most powerful power up that you. It's like it's a temporary one, but it does everything all at once, and so it's got the most power.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've also got holy water, which is very much like a Catholic icon.
Oh
All of
yeah.
these things that are adding up, and you would be like, hey, this is using the power of God and using religious imagery to actually show the triumph of good over evil. No, it was swallowed by the reaction to all of the um, universal horror pictures, references, the classic monsters and movies, and like the satanic um, quote unquote uh, rights and other enemies that you would encounter along the way. People were just overreacting,
Oh
and I mean
yeah.
like this is also the era where like I had all of the first wave of the Kenner superpowers uh, toys when I was younger, and when this stuff came through, they were instantly reevaluated and they're like, oh no, this is not promoting Jesus and God and Christian uh, teachings, so we got to get rid of this. So like everything that wasn't explicitly pro Bible, pro Christian for the evangelical community, it was just like treated with absolute suspicion. No like symbolism or wiggle room was even allowed. And I
Mm.
mean, even to the point that like Kid Icarus,
Yeah.
you would think that Kid Icarus would be okay because it's literally an angel fighting his way to help heaven more or less. Nope. That was almost instantly yanked out of the NES. I had an NES. I could play Mario. I could play like Marble Madness, which was not great on the NES, by the way.
No.
And I could play like Jordan versus Bird one on one. And I could we would rent games, and I had to like bring them to my mom. Can I rent this one? No. Okay. Can I rent this one? We tried Kid Icarus. No, that didn't work out.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's just the recurring thing for me from the inside. Is like I can't deal with these games um, that are having the Christian imagery in them that aren't doing things exactly by the book. I have to like be on the nose about everything. And that was my attitude growing up as a kid. And that is the probably the moral reason why Wisdom Tree happened.
Yeah. Now let's get into them in a little bit. First, I want to say this, and Mike, you might remember this, maybe. I remember we discussed this kind of thing in the past, and I remember specifically asking, well, what's objectionable about something like, say, Contra? And I mentioned
Aliens.
the fact you're fighting off aliens, and you're like, nope, aliens are demons. And it's like, wait, what?
Yep. Yep. Aliens are demons because like okay, so if you're a creationist, right? There's no evolution.
Right.
God created everything. So then aliens don't exist. Aliens are a lie. UFOs are part of like a demonic deception that is being perpetrated upon the human race. And you can literally go on to like Christian creationist sites like Answers in Genesis and Creation.com and Institute for Creation Research, and they will have articles about this very thing. And I'm not even making it up. So this was very prevalent in my childhood, growing up. And so if you got aliens in a video game or a movie, even, you're promoting a worldview and a philosophy that is contrary to biblical evangelical Christianity, and is completely incompatible with that from the ground up. And so for me as also a pastor's kid, this was something that I could not set an example by doing. There was also that aspect of things as well.
You know, I'm glad that I wasn't raised in a similar kind of household. The worst it ever got with us, and this was almost a non-issue, was I believe a family friend had passed along a book about backward masking to my mother. Maybe Sharon can remember this. And it's like, what? You know? It's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
But, yeah, the only concrete examples of backward masking I've ever found in any songs were by Weird Al.
Yes, I was hoping you'd bring him up.
They're very...
I mean, yeah.
They're very deliberate.
Everything else is just... Yeah.
You hear what you want to hear.
And, I mean, it's really difficult to... It was really difficult to explain the level of, like, complete paranoia that was so pervasive in that atmosphere. But it's boiled out since then, and it doesn't lead to good art, at the very least, and that's something that I found to be a recurrent theme. You have to kind of like get away from that mindset before you can actually make good art of any kind.
Yeah. Pardon me for 1 second.
Go for it.
Ash, knock it off. Yes, my cat, Ash. Whenever he hears me in here talking or listening to music, eventually he will come up to the door, start banging against it, trying to shove his paw under the door. Like, let me in. It's like, no. So apparently Sharon was the one that got the book, not my mother. I don't know. It was
Oh boy.
ages ago. So anyway.
I don't know if this is jumping the gun, but I did at least want to bring up that having grown up as a dumb little shit in the 90s, I do recall distinctly two games that made major splash in the public conscience, had satanistic fingers pointed at them. One, obviously so. The other, much more stupidly so, I want to say. I don't know if I should get into those now or if it's too soon to jump into the 90s with this thread, but...
hold off on that a little bit. We got to talk about Wisdom Tree first.
Oh, we do? Oh, shit.
Well, here, keep this in
That's
mind.
what I said too.
Keep this in mind. For Wisdom Tree did not start at Wisdom Tree. They started as a company called Color Dreams.
Color Dreams, yeah. I had like 2 or 3 of their carts somehow. I forget.
I'm sorry.
I think. I mean, when the rental store, the video and game rental store, Corner Video was called. They were getting more 16-bit games in their inventory, and while they retained, I think, some NES games, as the NES was getting less prevalent, they actually sold off the NES games that they had for pretty damn cheap, and my brother took advantage of that at the time and formed a large basis of the NES games that we still have today. So this was a bit of a grab bag. We did get some really good shit out of it, like, Contra, Castlevania's 2 and 3, but somehow not 1. I corrected that later. Several of the Mega Man, Double Dragon 2, etc. But the grab baggy nature of what Corner Video did have to sell off also led to him unintentionally buying some serious clunkers, and this did at least include Master Chu and the Drunkard Who, which was terrible. Metal Fighter, which was okay, not great, and I think one more Color Dreams cartridge, but it's not coming to me which. I just remember that the periwinkle blue hue that they had did make them look amusing, like it made them stand out from all the rest of the shit that they had. You know what, maybe it was just those two.
It also made them look cheap.
Yeah. To us idiot kids, I guess the different cartridges at least looked interesting, if nothing else. But we eventually wised up, and I don't think we got any of the ones that they got as Wisdom Tree, because my family was never... my brother and I should say, was never raised very religious, and my parents, although I think they tried to have been raised religious-ish enough, never really took to them, so we didn't really trickle down. I remember I spent like a week at a Bible studies group for some reason, but I don't even know why we did that in the first place, and I don't remember much from it, so... religion has not been much of a factor in my life. I have occasionally maybe looked into, like, studying up more on Taoism and more, what would be the word? I guess, like, slightly less conventional spiritual principles, but even those haven't really stuck around because I have the attention span of 1/8 of a monkey, so I wish I had more to say about religion in general as it relates to this, but I can really only relate, like, games that I remember that had, religious content in them, whether it's like, Christian or Hinduism or whatnot. There is one series in particular that has, like, creatures from all sorts of mythologies just kind of kit-bashed into it, but, we'll get to that when we get to that. Yeah. Anyway, that was just establishing a little bit of a baseline of how really freaking little I know about religion, so I'm probably going to be playing third fiddle on this one.
That's
Hey,
quite all right, man. Just chime in wherever you can.
Sounds
Brandon,
good.
Brandon and Jay are both here.
Hey, Brandon. Hey, Jay. How's it going?
Hey guys.
Now, Mike, I do want to just add something to what you're saying about the video store.
Yeah,
It's
of course.
definitely not an isolated experience on your part, because the
Mm,
local video store was doing the same thing. They were liquidating a lot of their older games. That's how I ended up
that's
getting
cool.
a complete box copy of Tengen's Tetris.
Holy shit! You didn't hang on to that, did you?
I traded that sucker in.
Oh my god.
Oof.
You want to know how much I
It,
paid for it?
pennies,
I,
practically.
No, no. Well, comparatively speaking, yes. $6.
Not bad at
oh my
all.
god.
But
You
this was,
remember what you got when you gave it away?
well, I didn't exactly give it away.
I mean, sold it off, or is that too painful to relate?
Oh, no, no, no.
Oh man.
What happened was, this is the late 90s. So I took it up to the video game dungeon, got, traded in. I walked out of there with a small box full of games.
Oh, I think I might remember this actually.
Yeah, this wasn't the box that I talked about in memoirs, but
Right.
I think I did mention it at one point, but it was basically, I got a couple of PlayStation games, some NES, Super NES, whatever, plus a little bit of cash I also threw in just to, cover for the remainder. So it was a good day.
That's cool.
So, but yeah, there was a lot of other games I got from Video Plus when they were liquidating their stuff too. Out of all of them, I only have one. All the rest went.
I mean, I managed to get something similar when our local video store went under back at the end of the 90s. I had a pretty decent NES collection by that point. Um, because as time went on and the Satanic Panic and all of that stuff got further and further from people's minds, my restrictions got less and less, and so by my late teens, all of this stuff was basically null and void. But earlier on in my childhood, this stuff was very, very prevalent.
Yeah.
Uh, Could we actually get back and talking about Wisdom Tree now?
Yeah, what
Or
happened was at one point, Color Dreams decided that there was more money to be made if they switched gears, because apparently Color Dreams wasn't doing very good. They had all these
right?
grand plans for stuff like this nearly 16-bit Hellraiser game,
Uh-huh.
which did exactly jack. The game never came out. It's pretty much vaporware. But they decided there was more money to be had in selling to a Christian audience. So they rebranded as Wisdom Tree, took some of their old Color Dreams games, did a little changing around here and there, and released them to Christian bookstores.
And I cannot tell you how big of an explosion that actually was within the evangelical community because we were like, oh my gosh, we're getting our own video games. Like, for real. And these things were marketed in Focus on the Family magazine. And not only that, but in in Clubhouse and in the youth walks, which were for the teens. Um, and those are the Clubhouse magazine was for the younger kids, and Youth Walk magazine was for. Anyway, so in those magazines, it was marketed as um, this guy that owned Color Dreams um, had a inspiration, like he was struggling with his company, but then he was like, I'm not really glorifying God with what I'm doing here. Like maybe if I took this company and did something good with then God would bless it. And and
Hmm.
so they started putting out these video games in the Christian bookstores. And I think the first one was Bible Adventures. And my friends um, over in Oklahoma, where I was growing up at the time, they got a copy for Christmas. And we were over at their house for Christmas, and we plugged it in, and it wouldn't come up. And we're like, "What the heck is going on?" And we pushed the power button off and on again, and it wouldn't come up. we look at the box and like sometimes you have to hit the reset button a few times before it'll come on. Just keep trying. And it's like, huh?
Nintendo's lockout chip.
So, exactly. So, we sit there and we played it. We played the David and Goliath game, played the Baby Moses game, and oh man, there was another one on there. Um, was it? I think it was Joshua. Joshua and the Walls of Jericho. Maybe it was a different one.
Huh.
I'm not. It's been so long. I never went back to that one. But like I played that one. I played King of Kings. I played Exodus, and then I played Spiritual Warfare. And that just tells you how much these things were pushed. That played 4 of those games, and they were all mid to low quality, and that's being generous. But
Yeah.
like they were pushed so much that like all of the Christian households, even if they didn't have any other game, I went over the other evangelical households, they had one of those games. It was crazy.
Yeah, that's just a carryover from Color Dreams because their games were bad. So I think they just kept using the same programmers.
Well, and I mean, like you're literally going around the rules, and this is kind of like the thing that blows my mind because like you've got the company Nintendo, they're set the rules for how they want their stuff to get published, and if you were being consistent and doing things by the book, like you're supposed to be doing in the evangelical community because of all these content offensive reactions that you're having to just the usage of Christian icons. If you were actually sincere about this, you would have a problem with um, essentially working around someone else's um, own rules because you're not setting a good example there. You're not setting a Christian example. You're not, and so it's kind of undercutting your whole point when you do that. But they found an alternate market in the Christian bookstore and in the Christian magazine, and they're like, if we just like do this narrow print run that Nintendo's never going to sign off on because it's too small, then we can actually target this audience over here. And I mean, all of those games were just dreadful. And I would argue like that they didn't really actually capture the spirit of like even the stories that they were trying to adapt. Um, with and I mean the only one that was even kind of like average was Spiritual Warfare, and that was because it was a Zelda clone.
Let me go to the chat real quick here. Yeah, sorry I missed this before, Raven. Yeah, we're kind of locked in as far as the call is concerned, but this is an interesting perspective here. Let's see.
Very, I mean, I guess that was an excuse for them. If some people really do believe that games are a distraction from praying, then that's their prerogative. I probably would have hated to grow up in a household like that, but that's
Wait, what's happening?
All right.
I'm not looking at the chat. What's happening?
Well, let me go and read off what Raven had to say. It says, I grew up in Iraq. At least my family was not extreme. They're super lightweight Muslims, but we had families around us that forbid their children from playing video games. The reason was video games are the playtime of the devil, and it keeps you busy from praying and reading the holy book, so better put that time praying for God. And goes
that sounds very familiar.
Yep, it goes on saying, it's all just insanity, no legit reason. They just did not like seeing their kids play games and not pray, as Muslims pray 5 times a day, and a kid is a kid. They'll get busy playing a game, and they'll be like, can I pray later? When they get called, and the parents would lose their shit.
Yeah, that's about the size of it.
Yeah.
pretty much.
And Brandon also had to say that he likes the Shenmue game series and its connection to Buddhism, Shintoism, and Taoism.
Yes.
Yeah, having actually beat Shenmue and Shenmue 2, Relatively recently, yeah, they actually do go a lot into the spiritualism that martial arts are uh, inherently connected to. I didn't get around to playing 3 because reception in that one was extremely freaking mixed, and I've kind of been scared off from it as a result. But
Hmm.
uh, yeah, no, those the overall vibe that those series go for, and how they link into Buddhism and such. My memory's a little rusty on the specifics, but I do remember that they really did emphasize the spiritual aspect of things, like how we train every day, like how the purity of the art in question is overall a betterment for the soul and what have you. And it felt like it was coming from a pretty earnest place in that regard. Although the end of Shenmue 2 taking the well, I don't want to spoil much, but that goes in a little bit of a weird direction. So I was just wondering if anyone would feel that said weird direction would have undercut what the games were going for up to that point. But, again, I don't want to whinge too much on spoilers. I just thought it was a bit of a strange bent to leave the series off on for 15 years and come back with a very uh, some might say underwhelming sequel, but I know that Dyer can't speak as much to it because he tacitly quit Shenmue for a certain reason. I just love waxing on this. I'm sorry.
Unskippable forklift races.
I'm so sorry. You're not wrong to hate that. I will say.
Yeah. Anyway, Sharon also asked, what about the game where you play as God? There's a couple of those, and we're about to get into that area anyway.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
now keep in mind this is not that we're gonna bag on Wisdom Tree all night stream, so we're about to leave them behind. But they did go a little further into the 16-bit era before they finally went bankrupt or whatever. I honestly don't know what happened to them, but I'm guessing that would be the case.
Likely.
I don't know either. I think the last time I saw any of their games in Christian bookstores was the one that you're about to just mention here.
I can't actually remember the title right now, so I'm going to leave that one to you.
Super 3D Noah's Ark, I assume.
Well, wasn't that their only Super NES game? I know they made a couple for the Genesis too.
Yes. Yes.
So Super 3D.
One... Go for it.
I was just reminded of something. It's picture Ned Flanders. Here's Wolfenstein 3D Flanders style. That's Super 3D Noah's Ark.
Yep.
But yeah, so Wisdom Tree, and that was about it.
Yeah, exactly. None of their games were particularly stellar, and I mean, even Spiritual Warfare. Look, you spend most of the game like wandering around, throwing fruit at people to try to get them to stop doing their evil things and turn them into angels or whatever the fruit's supposed to do. But that fruit is supposed to be like a metaphor for virtues that you develop as a Christian, and it's there's a passage in the New Testament where St. Paul talks about the fruits of the Spirit, and so you're literally throwing those fruits of the Spirit at people, like, "Hey, I've got this in my hand. You do it too. You do it." And I'm like, "This is not. What am I doing here? What is? How is this even remotely Christian?"
Well,
and so I mean, I never finished that game. I never even got to anything because, like, I once I started throwing fruit at people and they turned into angels, I was like, what am I playing? This makes less sense than anything I've played elsewhere.
well, look at Super 3D Noah's Ark. You throw, I think, grapes at goats until they fall asleep or something like that.
Just as the Lord intended.
Brandon.
But here's my question. I've never played this game, and I'm very curious. very
Okay.
curious. Um, when are there any carnivores on the Ark?
I never played far enough in it to find out.
Yeah, unfortunately, my deeper knowledge of the actual game and its bestiary is very lacking. I mostly know it exists as a novelty, but I never actually really played it for any
I mean, neither have I, and that tells you
great
something.
amount of
I've seen it
time.
in stores, but I've never played it.
Hmm.
And so the reason why I'm asking this question is theologically, like if you're looking at the Bible, and just particularly through that evangelical creationist lens, you there's this doctrinal teaching that grew up out of it that's like, okay, well, there were no meat eaters before the flood. So if you've got a carnivore on board the Ark and you're trying to present this evangelical perspective, and then you have to go and feed it meat, you are effectively undercutting the very perspective that you're also trying to support with the game itself. So that's why I was curious. I was like, did they actually do that too? I wouldn't put it past them, but
It wouldn't surprise me.
no.
Brandon,
Also, sorry.
just want to say here, your point about Doom, we actually touched on that earlier in the stream when we were talking about games like Castlevania and Ghosts and Goblins. Yet that's another game which would be, considered. It's like, nope, that game is evil. Even though you're
the outcry against Doom later. I didn't figure we were at that era yet, but like
Yeah,
the
actually,
outcry.
that was one of the two major tentpole games that I wanted to go over
Okay.
in the 90s, but I'm not sure if this would be the time to actually address that or not.
well, it did come out in like
We
what,
haven't gotten to the
92,
90s. We're kind of
93?
like bridging the 80s and the 90s right now.
Yeah, we're
Okay.
basically up in that era because this is when you had games like Populous and ActRaiser that came out.
I just want to note aside, apparently I booted Snarbu from an IRC channel for harping on the forklift races in Shenmue. Honestly, I do not remember this. I apologize if this was the IRC days. I obviously didn't know what the hell I was talking about because I had barely played Shenmue at that point. So, yeah, I don't remember the details of this incident. Snarb also wanted to mention that the most religious game he played is the Neverhood, which is a pretty clear Bible parable. That one would be very interesting to go into, since I have played that one in full. But, yeah, thank you for reminding me. Maybe we will. Well, if it's a good memory, then glad to compliment it. But yeah,
Sharon, I don't believe you play God in Earthbound. Mike?
no. Earthbound is no. You just play a bunch of ragtag kids going to blow up an existential horror alien menace. But yeah, it's undercutting the idea of it a bit. But yeah, it's the short version.
And on the subject of Populous, real quick, Sharon had mentioned earlier my friend Braunley used to play Populous. Well, that's half accurate. His mother was definitely evangelical. Although
Yeah,
she did have a little bit of an open mind, though.
that's
It's
good.
an unrelated story from later on. What happened was, though, is when he was in high school, she insisted on looking at all the games he'd bring in, and he bought Populous because the game he wanted wasn't there in the store at the time. But he wanted to buy a game, so he picked Populous. He heard good things about the PC version. Well, he got it home, and she looked at it, flipped it over, and right on the back it says, "Play God!" Whoa, she hit the roof. And told him that not only was the game, he was not keeping this game, it wasn't even allowed in the house. He had to keep it in his car, and until he was able to return it the next day. Well, luckily,
in the circles that I grew up in, they wouldn't even let you do that. It would be like, no, you can't throw it away because then the garbage man's kids will have it, so you have to burn it.
Jesus Christ. I'm going to say that semi-ironically throughout the stream unintentionally, but yeah.
well, he did return it. I mean, she didn't believe in wasting money either, so. He returned it, and luckily, the game he'd originally wanted was in stock that day.
Oh,
It's like they
there
must
you
have
go.
just got a shipment in. So he told them there was something wrong with it or whatnot, and instead of getting the money back, he decided to go ahead and buy the game, which worked out very well for him because the game he bought was The Revenge of Shinobi.
Good dingus.
Oh,
Mm-hmm. So
I'll take that trade.
Yeah, exactly. His mother was happy that this evil game was out of the house, and he was happy because Revenge of Shinobi was infinitely better.
No one told her about the ninja magic in Revenge of Shinobi, did they?
I don't think so, but that didn't seem to really bother her. I mean, she even didn't have a problem with Altered Beast.
Oh man, that was another one my parents reacted to. Oh,
Oh yeah.
yes.
This,
Like you get Zeus or whoever coming down and being like, the very first thing that comes out, rise from your grave and rest in my daughter.
Okay. Yeah, when you put that in
So
perspective, I get it.
Yeah, and so that, and then you get turned into all different kinds of like, half man, half beast, um, conglomerations, and that just seems all kinds of satanic. I mean, look, Phil Phillips, the guy that wrote Saturday Morning Mind Control and Turmoil in the Toy Box, he was
that guy.
like, that guy. He was going off on stuff like the Ron Perlman Beauty and the Beast TV show for that kind of stuff. He didn't like, man, what were the toys that had like the little anthropomorphized animals and they had different elements
Battle
on their
Beasts.
chest? That's it, Battle Beasts. He would go off on Battle Beasts.
So he didn't like that Ron Perlman role.
I mean, hey, well, yeah, he would have had a field day with Hellboy.
Yeah, boy,
that fucking guy. Anyway, I actually have another friend who grew up in an even more evangelical household than Bromley did. His parents were definitely, they had objections about things. When I went over there with a game, I wasn't even allowed to say the name of certain games. I had to change it around. Like, if with Ghouls and Ghosts, it was The Adventures of Sir Arthur.
not bad.
Mm-hmm. Or with, God forbid, Splatterhouse.
Oh boy.
Splatterhouse 2 was Rick's Quest or something like that.
How did you
Lame.
like just having that on screen though? How did you I can't, the mind boggles. I can't even imagine.
Lars had a TV in his room.
Yeah.
So, and
See, I'm sitting here imagining this in the family TV in the living room. You're like, oh no, we're just gonna play the Adventures of Sir Arthur.
yeah.
Okay.
Oddly, they didn't seem to have a problem with the NES Castlevania games.
Well, that's cool, at least.
I do remember when Bromley had gotten Super Castlevania 4, I'd made a videotape that I brought it over to show him one day, my friend. And I put it on. It goes through the whole intro about how, every 100 years Dracula's rising from his grave, power of Dracula, and all this stuff. His mom just happened to come home right at that time.
Oh no.
She stands here, watches the screen, and she's like, Power of Dracula? I don't think I want you playing this game. And he was just like, no, it's just a video. Which is all it was, because this is when the Super NES was still pretty brand new, so he didn't have one yet.
Fair weaseling out.
Yeah, well, he managed to worm his way out of that one. And some other stuff happened later on, but that's just kind of getting away from what we're talking about here. So, anyway. Then there was ActRaiser.
Oh man. See, I want to hear you guys' like assessment of ActRaiser because this is another one that is not going to go the way you would probably expect.
Mike, what do you think of ActRaiser?
I think it's an awesome game. The action scenes are very cool as they are. I think I remember back in the day you compared the action being somewhat similar to Taito's Rastan.
Oh
Kind of,
yeah, it does
sort
look a
of.
lot like that.
A little bit. Yeah, it has some really neat environments and all, but like the game took a chocolate and peanut butter approach where the action scenes for each of the continents that, or the lands, towns, whatever the hell you want to call them, in between the actual action bits are God Sim simulators, scenes where I'm tripping over my own words. You control this angel watching over everything, and like you can create miracles like lightning or snow or what
Rain.
have you. Rain, okay,
Earthquakes.
no snow. Yeah, the earthquake was like the literal nuclear option, and yeah, the townspeople grew, and that actually made you more powerful in the action scenes. As you know, the more people that there were, the more powers of prayer that you had on your side. At least that's what I think they were going for in that case. But
To interject here, Mike, it's kind of like Populous Light, but better.
well, yeah, I mean the actual Godson bits were, I guess, semi light. Like they went quickly, and you were at least controlling the angel who could shoot at bats and dragons and demons and skull heads that came up from the depths, dealing with them, trying to antagonize your towns while you also managed them too. I appreciate that you had something to do and guide the people to seal away their lairs. Is like you had much more definable goals in these areas, but all the same time, you didn't have to go on, and you didn't necessarily have to progress to the end of the game if you didn't want to. In theory, you could have just stayed in the towns and did all of the god things without ever going to the final level. I think it's also like there are strategies to like really max out the number of townspeople per area, and it does involve at some point earthquaking everybody and just scorched earth starting over from the beginning like the cruel, merciless god you are. But like that's done in order, if I'm not mistaken, to have them build more advanced houses, because it's like their wisdom grows over time, but if their populace maxes out, they have to destroy all their like mud hut early homes so that they rebuild with much more modern homes that house a lot more people. Or I don't know, that's very cruel and sociopathic, but I think that's why I remember reading, if you wanted to really shore up your town's actual numbers. Hilarious and terrible.
Yes. But, the point being is that you play a God character. Now, I think in the Japanese version, it's, you're actually playing God versus Satan, but in the US localization, you're fighting against a demon called Tanzra.
Yes,
I think I went as far as like identifying the deity with Yahweh, like, which is the God of the Old Testament.
Shit.
In Japanese.
That would make sense.
I could be mistaken. I would have to look it back up, but I thought I remembered reading about that. I've never played the Japanese version myself. I've only played a little bit of the American version, but fantastic game, stellar game, unquestionably.
I feel the same way.
My parents would still have hated it.
Oh well, yeah. I still think it's a fantastic game. One of my favorites of the SNES, of the era overall. It also had a disappointing sequel, which completely cut out the entire God game part and just focused entirely on the action, which was a poor move in my humble opinion.
And it got an even poorer move when they decided to jack up the difficulty to impossible.
Yeah, they also made it pretty effing difficult as well. I did actually, for some shit-forsaken reason, get motivated to beat ActRaiser 2 this year. I remember I'd come really close before, but I didn't quite stick the landing. That game is not without merit. It does have some really awesome graphics and pretty creative settings.
I can describe the graphics as lush.
Yeah, oh yeah, no, they look freaking fantastic. I think this is like 94, so a fair stretch into the SNES's lifespan at this point. And the music, which I think was also done by Yuzo Koshiro as he did the first one. Yes, the Streets of Rage guy, among other things, but the music was as close to genuinely orchestral as I think you would hear on an SNES game, outside of maybe some like RPGs. It had the makings of something genuinely epic, and it's just a shame that for how cool it looks and sounds, it is ultimately a somewhat middling game. Like, I'm not sure if I would have minded that they cut the God game stuff out if the game itself at least played really cool, but it's like, you're genuinely slower than you are in the first game, which is kind of a pain in the ass to get through some situations. You can also kind of double jump and fly now, but the physics on that can be slightly awkward, and everything just does so fucking much damage as I remember. And I remember when I did actually beat the game, like the war level just had so many obnoxious enemy placements that I think I like had to pause for the day or my head would explode. I mean, yeah, so I'm not sure how much else I should talk about because, like I said, the God element is really de-emphasized. I mean, you are still God fighting Satan, or Tanzra, which I eventually realized was an anagram of Satan, but with the letter R thrown in for some reason. But, yeah, that was unfortunately the end of the ActRaiser series in general. There is some tangential relation to another series that Enix and the developer Quartet made. They're loosely called the Heaven and Earth trilogy, but you likely know the games themselves as Soul Blazer, Illusion of Gaia, and Terranigma. Mm-hmm. And those dovetail into, like, you know, the creation of life and building a world. And, like, the Soul Blazer, the first one, is... Oh shit, yeah, Snarb, you're right. There was an ActRaiser remake and a spiritual successor, Soul Seraph, that was the name of it. Unfortunately, I heard middling about both of them, and I never really played them, so fortunately I couldn't really speak much to them. But I guess ActRaiser didn't 100% die, for what that's worth, at least. But, yeah, Soul Blazer was pretty simple. You had to clear out these areas, and, like, the more spirits you freed, the towns in question, their life would return, and you're acting on a disembodied, behalf of a disembodied voice, which is clearly God. I forget if that was explicitly mentioned in the Japanese version or not, but I really like that game. Illusion of Gaia gets a little bit weirder, and I think is... my memory on Illusion of Gaia and Terranigma are like I don't want to spend all day talking about them, but they do touch on similar themes as the ActRaiser duology does, but they are somewhat less direct about it. They go out on their own tax more. It isn't quite as blatantly, you are the actual Judeo-Christian God waging a war against Satan. They go more into their own tangents and such. But, yeah, Quintet, as it were, pretty cool developer. They also did Robo-Trek, which I don't think has anything to do with creationism or such, but I never played that, so I have no idea.
Yeah. So
I have no idea either.
Yeah, I think it's some kind of RPG where you, I don't know, build robots or something. I don't know.
Something to that extent. Maybe I should get to it someday, but I couldn't tell you much about it as it is.
I just want to give a little personal story about ActRaiser 2 here.
Sure.
I remember it was, later on in '94, and my friend Andre and I had gone out to one of the relatively local game stores, and I'm like, I'd like to buy a new Super NES game. And I'm looking through the new releases there, and I see ActRaiser 2, and I'm like, I hadn't read anything about it yet. I just knew it was out. It's like, oh, ActRaiser 2. Well, I love the first one. And right next to it was The Adventures of Batman and Robin. So at this point, it's like, now I love how that looks, and it's Konami, so it's, it can't not be good. What do I buy? So I thought about it for a while. And in the end, I was finally like, you know what? I'm going to take this one. Walked out with Batman and Robin. No regrets whatsoever.
I would say you made the right call there.
Yes.
I would too. I have some gripes with that game, but the authenticity to the animated series was undeniable. And I would say you went with the ultimately better tack than what I went with. I did actually get the game back in the day, and I probably should have refunded it for whatever else was hot in '94. I can't even remember what off the top of my head, but yeah.
Hey, Raven, thanks for stopping by. Hope you have a good night, and happy holidays.
Hey, thanks, Raven. Happy holidays. Thank you for stopping in. You take care and such.
Thanks for stopping in, Raven.
So, all right. So now there was other stuff going on at the same time on the competing consoles. Like there was I don't know if anyone here remembers Exile. There was a TurboGrafx version for the CD-ROM, and there was also a Genesis version. And
I played neither.
Yeah, well, at least the first one. I don't think I ever played Wicked Phenomenon, but the first one, it's decent, but it is hard.
Working designs. Fuck you, Vic Ireland.
Yeah,
that just came out of nowhere, but yeah,
poorly translated, exactly. But it takes place during the Crusades. So, in fact, at one point you're told that because it's actually the sequel to an existing game that stayed in Japan, and the opening to the Turbo CD version actually recaps the events of the previous game, and then talks about how these invaders from the north came down, and they call them the Clispins, and it's pretty obvious when you're watching this intro exactly who they are. So there's a lot, and this game really goes into a lot about
who are they?
Who are they? The Crusaders.
Yeah, who are they, Rob?
The Crusaders, as sent by, who was it? King Richard?
Probably.
I don't know.
I mean, Richard went to the Fourth Crusade. I don't remember who did the First Crusade.
But they never specify which crusade it is. I'm just pretty sure it's not the last crusade.
So it's not Richard the Lionheart's crusade.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't believe it is. But
okay.
It's somebody's crusade, and you get some pretty surprising images of basically people getting slaughtered.
Oof.
Yeah, they don't downplay that. And it's been years since I've even seen the game, any real detail as far as going through it. So I don't remember the specifics, but that opening's always stood out to me. So
yeah.
And I mean, that's kind of the dark side of Christianity, the kind of underbelly there. It's been a part of Western culture and bubbles up time and time and time again. And it's a real danger. And it's horrifying. It is not at all what any wholesome, decent system of belief should ever embrace.
Mm.
But it is an ugly fact that has occurred. And it's sad that people want to deny it.
Yeah.
It's really strange to me though that this wound up in a video game. Like it was such a graphic depiction. Um,
Well,
I how often does that kind of historical um, interpretation actually happen in video games? I don't know that I've ever like we tend to get into uh, more fantastical kind of violence in video games.
hmm well,
What
I,
I mean,
I think it really all depends because a lot of the things that I've seen that involve actual history have come out of Japan.
okay,
It's not a religious thing, but they have it's a strategy series over there where yeah, I'm pretty sure it's World War II based because Hitler is prominently featured on the cover of the game.
Ryaki, was that the one?
Yes, that's it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think who else? Yeah, I think who was it? Mussolini and Stalin and all of them are on the cover too. I think
Yeah, something to that extent.
it's very text heavy. I have no desire to ever play it. It is a strategy game after all.
Didn't Desert Commander on Chemco actually deal with the Africa Corps? Or what
Yes,
have
it
you?
did. That actually had to be very, very edited for release in the U.S.
Yep,
because
not surprised.
in Japan, you're actually you're controlling the Africa Corps against the British.
Yeah,
You,
yeah, you're
you were,
apparently Rommel.
yeah, you're playing Erwin Rommel.
oh man,
That's the pitfall with all those historical military strategy games, because you have the quote unquote historical authenticity that history goobers who might have thought Hitler had decent ideas saying that it had to be like that. Okay, actually, I don't want to go too far down this tangent. Let's
that's fine.
bring it back, Mikey.
Veer back to religion
No.
here, Mike.
Yeah, please.
So we've now okay, Mike. You said you had those two games in particular you wanted to talk about.
Yes, exactly. Well, I did hinge upon we did hinge upon Doom just a little bit, but I'd be glad to go into details because I am a huge nut for the Doom series and all the
Go for it.
really cool shit that's been done with the game's idTech 1 engine. In fact, the 2025 CAC Awards just came out and revealed some of the most notable projects that were done in the Doom engine last year. But
Wait,
this year, I mean. But
Mike, I can sum it up for you.
what's
Okay. Phobos, Doom Guy, Demons, Fine Cheese.
Fuck you. Yeah, I should have known that's where you were going. I didn't think that's exactly. Fuck. God damn it. But yeah, mazy design aside, Doom made an unquestionably meteoric impact when it dropped near the end of 1993. And something that big, especially something that big that was essentially done by what nowadays would be called an indie developer for how small a team it was. It would inextricably attract attention for being too popular by moral guardians and such, and they felt that they had a right to really point out the game's questionable content, not only because it was violent and you had decorations of heads on iron poles and flayed out corpses hung up on the walls, which looks still somewhat creepy today, but like relatively tame compared to like the gore that like the fucking like later Mortal Kombat games would exhibit or what have you. Oh, Mortal Kombat. There's one that could also be talked about by the Mortal Guardians, less for religion, just for general violence. But no, Doom, being that you specifically dealt with demons from hell itself, was vilified by people who are still trying to keep the satanic panic going. But it was noted in the book Masters of Doom that one of id's key personnel, Sandy Peterson himself, who I believe was a Mormon, if I remember correctly, he actually approved of the fact that you were fighting demons in the game. You were actually killing them. They were the bad guys, so it should have been acceptable because it's not like you were promoting them in any way. Now, if it was like Demon Summoner 3000 or whatever, maybe there'd be a little bit more of a leg for the protesters to stand on. But as it was then, the fact that they were objecting to a game where you fight demons just because there were demons in it at all was more than just little silly. I mean, Doom, of course, had that wasn't the only controversy Doom had. It would face a much more serious one later after Columbine, but that didn't have anything per se to do with with religion, as far as I know. So that's immaterial.
But on the subject of Doom and it being objected to, now Sam, you're on the other side of the fence here, so.
I mean,
how did that go over?
This is pretty like open and shut. Like,
yeah,
this was like a major tripwire, and there was a friend of mine, the grade above me at the high school that I went to, which was a private religious school, and he built his own computer, and then he got in trouble and got his computer taken away because he had installed Doom onto it, and his parents caught it. And it was not good for him in the slightest. So, yeah, Doom was definitely one of those hot button triggers. Another one, Diablo, which I have played the heck out of. Diablo and Diablo 2 and Diablo 3. I haven't touched Diablo 4 as much because it seemed like it was more getting into that WoW kind of play style. And I was like, I'm not interested in WoW with the Doom or a Diablo skin. But
wow, more like snore. Fart. I'll shut up now.
And hey, make fun of it all you want to. I played the Diablo games because I could play them by myself. I never had a network character. I actually preferred it that way. But the fact that you're sitting there and you're going down into the levels of hell, fighting all of these massive demons, using what can only be described as occult powers, didn't sit very well with anyone at the time. Because especially in the first Diablo game, there was no angelic presence at all. Tyrael doesn't show up in Diablo until the second game, so there's no presence of heaven at all. It's all just like magic and demons, and that feeds back into like the Christian perspective that all magic is inherently demonic because you can't take God's power for yourself. So the only time that you're getting magic is if you're making a deal with a demon in some way, shape, or form. So, like, and that was the reasoning, and that was the rationale that they would be putting forth to people.
Okay, and what if I wanted to play as a warrior that didn't use magic at all? What's the problem with that? Because that's what I did when I actually played Diablo recently.
Yeah, me too, because those wizards were paper thin, man.
Yeah, exactly. They had a really hard uphill time starting out. I had almost no problems with my physical-based class until the last quarter when the game started to become more of a bullet hell shmup, which was not in favor of someone who primarily stuck to Melee. But I'm glad I finally got around Diablo recently. I will have to get around to 2 at some point, but I do really like the simplicity of the first game. And I know that 2 adds a lot more layers on, for better or worse, but I digress. Continue.
Also, before we do,
I mean,
Kate's here.
And hey, Kate, what's up?
Hey, Kate.
Good to have you in here. Hope it is a good night. I don't know if you're on any podcasts tonight, but thank you so much for taking time aside to stop in for this particular stream, which might be the last one we do in a while, so it is much appreciated.
Yes.
But yeah.
Anyway, where were we?
Sorry, Sam. Go on.
Oh, you're good. So, just answer your question about the warrior in Diablo. The fact that you use magical items at all, they would
for
be
God's
like, well,
sakes.
where are you getting the magic from? You know, that kind of thing. So, and this is the kind of nitpickiness that goes into things.
Yeah.
But Diablo and Doom and Mortal Kombat all got thrown under the bus by this kind of reaction. And I mean, Mortal Kombat had a similar kind of issue where, you know, you've got the outworld gods, but like the only good gods are like Raiden, who there isn't like a high god either, at least not in the first 2 games. So where's all this power actually coming from? How do you actually have any kind of goodness to equal the level of malevolent power that's coming at you? That kind of thing. And it was, you know, sometimes game mechanics have to go a certain route to make the game fun, and sometimes people don't think about things on that level. And I would argue that you don't have to think about things on that level necessarily. But there are people who do think on that level, and then they do make games that are profoundly well written, profoundly well done mechanically, and just a blast to play and experience. But we'll get into that a little bit later on in the stream.
Now, I'm kind of curious about something.
Yeah, what's that?
During all this, you know, that you heard about at the time, did Splatterhouse ever come up?
I never heard about Splatterhouse until I met you.
Obscurity.
If it had come up, it would have been instantly blacklisted. Maybe not because of like the satanic side of things, because there's not really that there, but like Jason and Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street and all of those classic slasher flicks were just lumped into the same kind of stuff that was off limits. Maybe not for the same reasons, but it just it was a bad look, you know, as we say these days. It didn't play right, and anything that there was a bad gut feeling about that didn't look right on the surface was not going to go over. So
yeah.
But I mean, if you play it, like there's no. In all of the times that like you and I have discussed Splatterhouse, or I've watched a stream, or even like picked up a game here and there, I've never seen a single occult symbol anywhere in the game. Am I wrong? Am I missing?
We're talking about the original Splatterhouse in this case.
Any of them?
The first one had a pretty blatant one, actually.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah. The fourth
talking about.
The fourth boss was a flying inverted cross that fired severed heads at you. It was censored in the Western TG16 version, and it was just like a weird-looking blue head, so maybe you weren't privy to the original Evil Cross one somehow, but
Yeah,
yeah.
you would have had to play the PC Engine port or the original arcade game to see Evil Cross.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
That being said, curiously enough, I think that's the only blatantly anti-religious thing that, at least to my recollection, Rob, let me know if I'm wrong, that Splatterhouse ever actually exhibited in it.
I can't recall anything else off the top of my head.
Yeah, that is strange. That it just throws out that tack and then just goes on to not really be satanic at all for the rest of the series lifespan.
Now, there are some things that were changed in the game. Like, it wasn't just the removal of Evil Cross in the TurboGrafx version, but Hell Chaos is actually buried beneath a wooden cross, and that was
Oh
changed.
yeah, there was that too, right?
But that's just a regular cross, and that was replaced by a tombstone.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I
And
remember that.
where you fight Evil Cross is actually in a chapel, and at the end there's basically a small altar there with a cross, and that was completely removed from the Turbo version.
Yeah, so Rick's just standing in front of nothing for a minute.
There's a couple of candles there, but that's it.
Yeah.
And as far as the other ones, let's see.
I'm trying to recall. I mean, I guess you go down to what might be Hell in 2 to get Jennifer's soul back, but I don't know if that's specified as being, like Hell or whatever.
No, it is in the original Japanese, but in the US release, they renamed it to The Void.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
That's actually kind of an apt name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in 3, there is one thing about 3. They do, and keep in mind, this had never been talked about in any previous Splatterhouse game, period. They bring up this new thing called the Darkstone, which is, there's a ritual involving Rick and Jennifer's son, David, and you're supposed to unlock it for the evil one, but ultimately that doesn't happen, and then you get to fight the Terror Mask, so you're essentially punching yourself in the face.
Yeah, that'd be like a funny sort of Fight Club reveal if Rick was actually doing that to save the world or whatever.
Mm-hmm. And Splatterhouse 2010.
That would be some casting. Edward Norton as Rick.
Exactly.
That's not a bad casting. No, I can see that.
And in the 2010 game, well, they probably object more to the language and innuendos and topless pictures of Jennifer than anything else.
Yep.
And some of the stuff the mask says definitely qualifies.
Yep.
I have not even played that one. So.
Well, there's a bit where you actually see Rick put on the mask for the first time. And in his, when he's talking to Rick, as Rick's laying there dying, he's like, "Who am I? Let's just say I'm God. At least the only God's listening right now. What do I want? Same as any God." And why did I just space in the next line? Mike,
something about tribute or whatever.
Yeah, it's like same as any God. Little faith, because without faith I am nothing, and without me you're fucked.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So yeah.
Oh man.
Mm-hmm.
But yet these games have been almost completely overlooked. To which again I say, yay obscurity.
Yeah, I was going to say, I recall in like the MPAA obscenity hearings or whatever, Joey Jojo Lieberman only brought Splatterhouse 3 up as more or less a footnote, but it was not the focus of those hearings, as I recall.
And it had nothing to do with any of the content you'd think would be objectionable. It was all because that Namco is making a mockery of Sega's rating system.
Gosh.
Hit piece, but that's another subject for another time, right?
Yeah.
Womp.
Anyway, so as we're going on through the 90s here, and eventually we're going to get to well, we got like an hour or so. Well, a lot of stuff started happening in, what was it, I don't know, mid-aughts?
Wait. If we're going to the mid-aughts already, I wanted to bring up the other game that was, or series rather, that was actually fingered for being allegedly satanic, if I may.
Do go ahead, yes.
Go for it.
I don't know if either of you remember this, but I do recall that for some reason, even I remember this when it was a big thing, because of all things, the Pokemon Mega series was slammed by the fucking Bible beaters or what have you, if you can believe it, if you remember any of that at all.
Pocket Monsters, Evolution, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I assume that, evolution itself was, and Darwinism and whatnot were against the fundy creationists and what have you.
Absolutely.
Here's some other things, alleged connections to Satanism that I'm reading from the Bulbapedia. Pokemon are like demons. They are captured and must be called upon to perform tasks. Magical talismans, presumably a reference to gym badges, are needed to control them. Many Pokemon inherently involved East Asian spiritualism or mysticism due to the franchise originating in Japan. Some Christian groups denounce these as pagan rituals. Fucking Jesus Christ on the cross. No, that's what we're talking about, but I remember...
everything that was recycled from Phil Phillips. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Many Pokemon have... extraordinary paranormal powers, notably psychic types and ghost types. I remember the Pokemon line, the three known as Abra and Kadabra and Alakazam in particular were targeted for allegedly being like, scions of the occult or whatever. Especially the second one of that line, Kadabra, who notably had a star on his forehead, which I might be confusing my reasons here, but I think Kadabra was controversial for both that and that the Spoon guy, Uri Geller, apparently raised a stink about Kadabra doing the spoon bending thing, and that was apparently his gimmick. And he I don't know if it was because of alleged Satanism or because of Geller that Kadabra apparently got really downplayed in merchandise afterward. But like, come on, how stupid do you have to fucking be? Like my personal thought on that is, Pokemon just got so monolithically popular that people who have no life and just like to shit on things for being popular just attacked it because it was unavoidable and everywhere. At least that's just kind of the feeling that I get, that some people just got annoyed at how much it exploded. Granted, I'm not really much of a Pokemon fan now myself. I was when it started out, but I fell off after the second generation, so... it can keep being what it is. I have less problems with it still being a thing than I do Call of Duty, so...
I didn't play a Pokemon game at all until I was a father, and my daughter got us into Pokemon because she got obsessed with it. And the first Pokemon game I ever actually played was Pokemon Go. I was just the wrong age for all this stuff. By the time that Pokemon came out, I was about to graduate from high school. It was just not the right time. But I mean, that being said, from what I understand, the guy that created Pokemon, he based it off of his memories of exploring the Japanese countryside and collecting bugs. And
Satoshi Tajiri, I remember reading that. Yeah. Like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
and the rest of it is just imagination and folklore, and that's basically all it's based off of. It's a bug catching game.
Yeah, I mean, not uncoincidentally, Bug is one of the elemental types in the series, so that that really does make a lot more sense when you put it that way. Like, there are some creepy things that some Pokemon perpetrate, like the infamous balloon that apparently takes children away, never to be seen again. I'm serious. This is actually Pokemon. It's known as Drifloom.
Oh yeah.
But for all the weirdness that it got into, like, Pokemon was always meant to appeal to younger demographics. And when it first broke majorly into the West, it hit me at exactly the right time. I was 9, 10 years old. I was the right age to
Oh,
be
that's perfect.
susceptible to that. Um, and I just had a fun time with the first generation and the Pokemon trading card game spin-off. Now, not the actual game itself. There was, might sound stupid, recursively, there was a Game Boy Color game based on the trading card game that had also come out, like, Street Fighter, the movie, the game, kind of sort of like that. Spin-offs just kind of folding back in on each other.
Gotcha.
But and I did like Gold and Silver quite a bit, and then it just became too big for me to follow, and my attention span just kind of wonked off. But yeah, I really still think that anyone who was shitting on Pokemon at that point was just kind of tired of hearing about it, and someone, fabricated the religious angle to get those types all into it. At least that's my semi tinfoil hat theory, at any rate. And
I mean, yes, but also no, because there's
fair.
I this whole perspective that started off with where we started the stream that's still present. Um, there's this undercurrent of fear from actually learning about things. And so when you
Mm,
have something that is outside of your range of experience and it seems to take um, visual inspiration from things that you associate with being wrong or incorrect or evil or even just make you uncomfortable, um, people react to that like viscerally, like very, very strongly. And then they'll start using what they know, which is whatever they've been taught, to sort of create a framework for that. And if like this Pokemon, Pokemon and video games, and as an extension of that, there's so much creativity in that that there really isn't a context for it within
yeah.
traditional points of view. I mean, you throw something like Super Mario Brothers at someone, they're gonna think this is like the most crazy thing ever. There's boxes above my head that appear when I hit from below, and give me money, and that you eat the mushrooms to make you grow larger. What is
And
this,
you
Alice in
traveled,
Wonderland?
and
You
you
know?
traveled down long pipes, like
Yeah,
literally
yeah.
the rabbit
There's no.
holes, almost.
If you stop to think about like what the narrative for that actually is, it makes no sense at all. But if you're just playing it as a platformer and you're just getting the hang of what you can do, it, it's completely it's a great game. It's enjoyable and it's fun. But
Hmm.
trying to make it fit into that traditional viewpoint or any other that didn't exist when that didn't exist at the time that that viewpoint was developed. There's no frame of reference for that, and so trying to um, actually fit that into your perspective, there isn't any terms, and it's hard for people to wrap their heads around, and so they respond with fear. It's the X-Men thing. People fear what they don't understand,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and it's so it's not necessarily that they're sitting there trying to think of something else to um, uh, tear down, although that's probably a part of it because there's this sense that, oh, I want to protect the others that believe like me. I want to protect their spirit, their relationship with God, or their belief system as well. Um, there's that instinct, but it's all just kind of misguided because
Yeah.
the curiosity to explore and learn things isn't necessarily there. And that's all that video games are when you get down to it. It's like, what can I do here? What am I doing? How can I control this character? Where can I go? What can I do? And it's all curiosity driven. No matter what mechanics you're using, you're trying to figure out what the rules of the game are so that you can actually accomplish the task.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like, how fast can I make these burgers fall so I can clear the stage?
Yeah. Well, if I don't want to learn
that's
more,
pure reflexes.
So you effectively posit that people just don't want to learn more about anything than what they already know because they're lazy,
Well,
or am I missing the point there?
No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying
Sorry.
that like they're trying to recontextualize things and absorb things through the lens of what they already know instead of expanding what they already know to accommodate the new input. And it's that same cycle that we were talking about from the beginning of the stream. Like, if they had just stopped to look at what was going on in a game like Ghouls and Ghosts or even Castlevania, they would have been like, oh, okay, yeah, this is actually doing the teachings really a service. And honestly, this kind of dovetails into my favorite Castlevania game of all time, Symphony of the Night, because that was the first time I ever heard any kind of scripture verse quoted in a video game, and it was quoted correctly and accurately within the context of the game itself. And, you've got Dracula set up as this almost satanic figure, and he's twisting religion. And you've also got Richter and Alucard going, no, this isn't right. And it was, for all of the reactions against that kind of stuff, if you just actually look at the game itself, there's a lot to recommend it. And some people don't push past the superficial, and that's kind of what leads to this kind of reaction.
I think I get. Yeah, I'm just like. I was trying to think of like a sort of perspective where like if I don't understand nearly enough about sports, then should I take what I know to try and understand them? Because I don't know. I just wanted to shit on sports for some reason. This doesn't really have anything to do with anything. I'll shut
Move the
up now.
thing to the other thing. I wanted to chime in for a second regarding Pokemon.
Please do.
Okay.
All right. I was in college. I was in college when it came out. So way outside the target age for that.
Yep.
So I remember one thing pretty much, aside from the obvious, which would be Pikachu, because that little electric rat's everywhere.
Couldn't escape them, though.
Nope. And that would be prepare for trouble and make it double.
Oh, nice.
And that's about it.
Well, Team Rocket was and still are incredibly popular, so that's totally fair. Mm-hmm.
That's right. Team Rocket. That was what they were called.
Jesse and James and Meowth. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
protect the world from devastation.
Yep. Something annihilation. God damn it, my brain's rusty. I used to actually love a fucking Poke Rap back in the day, and that knowledge has long rusted. What has become of me?
Yeah, this also makes it the whole Pokemon thing. It's the only Weird Al song that I don't know much in the way of the lyrics to.
Oh.
Pokemon.
Oh, yeah, he did do that, didn't he?
Yep. And
he would.
It's basically just reciting all the names of these different Pokemon and everybody Pokemon. And it's like, well, I'll never memorize that, will I?
Oh, man. Yeah. Did that actually make it onto any album, or was that a relatively rare cut? I can't remember.
I'm pretty sure it was on the soundtracks to one of the Pokemon movies, but I
don't. Fuck that.
Yeah, I don't think it made it onto an actual Al album.
Okay, maybe that's what. Yeah, I'm not sure if I've actually heard that before. I'll have to look it up later. I also wanted to note something that Kate said. She was like 10 and into Pokemon, and some kid's dad called them the child of the devil. That would
Oh
be
my God,
like
I'm so
a
sorry,
don't
Kate.
threaten me with a good
Yeah.
time. I think Kate would consider that a compliment nowadays. But yeah, just so much fucking narrow-mindedness that these guys
Yes.
can't get over their Bibles and football to really see what any of this shit was about. I don't know why I want to shut on football right now. I really don't. my brains are kind of futzing out. I like sports too, says Brandon. One bingo to get a touchdown, and you have to make a slap shot, make a free throw, and that's how you play pickleball. Okay, well, pickleball sounds like a nice and fun time, but what about Calvin Ball? I like that one. You know the rules, don't you?
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I lost when the score was Q to 12. So
Oh well.
Look, the score is oogie to boogie. Okay.
that was last time. You can't play it the same way twice.
That's true. That is the rules. But you know, on further review, the runner did not touch second base. Touchdown, Celtics.
Right. Something Luka Doncic or whatever that guy's name is. I don't know. You know the rules, and so do I. Brandon, it's a Calvin Ball. It's actually a reference to Calvin and Hobbes, where Calvin just made up a sport where the rules just kept becoming increasingly ridiculous bullshit, as I remember, that didn't have anything to do with anything.
If I recall correctly, only one person ever figured it out.
And that would be Hobbes?
No, Hobbs knew it. I was talking about
Okay.
an outsider here, and that was Rosalind, the babysitter.
Oh, wow. Good on her.
That was classic.
Yes, because she totally used it to her advantage.
Wow. I gotta look that up at some point. Hey, you know,
That was one of the
wouldn't
later strips. I
Yeah.
think it was in one of the last two collections.
Hey, you know who wouldn't have been able to understand Calvin Ball?
Do tell.
Who?
I'm sorry.
Fucking Mo. Not
Oh, God.
not our Mo. The Mo of Calvin, who's become our stereotype for the dude bro Doritos that were shitting up the atmosphere back in the mid to late aughts. But yeah.
His berserk pituitary gland would not allow him to understand Calvin Ball.
We are getting off the trail here, I realize. Mo with his own sad fun. Hey, Prime, what's up, man?
Prime.
Hey, welcome.
Yeah. You came in at an interesting time. We were just discussing Pokemon.
Oh, God. Can we move on from that?
I guess we were about to. Yeah, I couldn't really think of much more to say. Just that it had its fervor and its excoriation by the religious groups who obviously failed. Pokemon's still a huge wheel even today, so, fart on those guys.
All I know is we're getting closer and closer to the game I'm really looking forward to talking about.
Oh, yeah, me
Oh,
too. So,
yeah! I keep holding you guys back from talking about that. Maybe I should shut up for a while.
Before we do that, though,
like,
there's other
go for
stuff.
it.
There's other stuff. And Sam, this is kind of more your wheelhouse than mine.
Okay.
Like Okami, for example.
Oh, I didn't know if you want me to like jump into like a brief summary of the RPGs that were touching on religion, but I mean we could just do that in a couple sentences because I mean
Yeah.
you had numerous Final Fantasy games that dealt with religion in various aspects. Most famously, you had the reworking of Gnostic theology in Final Fantasy VII and Genova, and also the undercurrent of Japanese spirituality that's there in the narrative of that game, and you've got like Shintoism and ancestor worship that becomes a prevalent part of Final Fantasy X. And you've got games like Secret of Mana and Xenogears, and these are all RPGs that deal with religion like more in depth. But one of the best adaptations of a mythology overall that was also a really cracking good game was Okami, in my
Mm.
opinion. I mean, because it touches on so many different aspects of Japanese folklore and religious thought and mythology and mythological figures and the pantheon. Um, and it was Clover's um, best attempt at making a Zelda game without actually having access to the Zelda license because they had done some of the Zelda games on the portables, the portable consoles, but they had leftover ideas and they just sort of made Okami out of this. And it was amazing because they took like the ukiyo-e woodcut style art that
Yeah.
Hokusai was famous for, and they made it into a cell shaded art style, and everything was cohesive, and the gameplay was solid, and the story was phenomenal, in the sense that it was entertaining. It wasn't necessarily life changing, but it was respectful of the whole culture,
Yeah.
and it was those kinds of games are few and far between in in gaming in terms of like religion and cultural respect and just hitting all of the buttons at once. Um, but I can't praise Okami enough, and my daughter has played through that game at least 6 times and rebought it in HD on her Switch. Which, by the way, if you buy the Switch version, there is one particular puzzle that is going to drive you absolutely bonkers because of the size of the screen and the touch screen, um, and
Okay.
trying to actually pull um, the puzzle off. And she basically gave up on the game at one point. Bear in mind, she's beaten it like 3 or 4 other times.
Like
So she
animation
gave up on it
volume.
on Switch.
That sucks.
Yes, yes. Um, but Okami uh, sort of laid the groundwork for this, and the guy that did Okami went on to do another game. It's like he said, "Okay, I did Eastern religion this time. Let's go and do Western religion with my next game for my next trick." And it didn't quite work as well, but it was still a really entertaining game.
Hmm.
And that is the one that Rob's been chomping at the bit to talk about, and that is El Shaddai.
Oh yes.
So, I mean, I don't remember what did you discover this game first or did I? Did I
You
get you
did.
into this? Oh my God.
You did, and you
I picked
praised
this
it
game
so
up.
much.
Oh my God. I played this game and I sat down. I'm like, there is no way this game is going to be anything but trash, and I'm going to regret this so much. And I sat down and I was playing it. I was like, okay, mechanically solid. Oh wait, is that Jason Isaacs playing Lucifer? What? And you just keep playing the game and you're like, okay. And you get down from heaven on this big seven-fingered hand, and you come down, and the game promptly devolves into an acid trip that never lets up.
Yes.
Yep. Accurate. Very accurate.
And the longer you play, the more it develops. What am I playing? What? And I remember trying to explain what was going on in this game to Rob, and I was like, at one point, I'm jumping around on music theory and then coming back onto multicolored blocks of Swiss cheese because I'm trying to catch these bipedal flan sausages that are keep evading me. And Rob's like, wait, what? And I
Yes.
was like, that's about the most literal way I can describe what's happening right now.
That may have been what actually sold me on it.
It was, I mean, I wrote a review for this game for an online Christian gaming news, uh, news site called Christ-Centered Gamer. It was a vastly stripped down version of the my original posts on the moon, um, but it still garnered a phenomenal number of hits. and views and reads on the site. And it's because that game does the unexpected at every turn. And the only thing I could figure is he was like, I'm going to do everything exactly the same way I did with Okami, but in the West. And the problem is, you can kind of standardize um, Japanese art styles. You can get to some kind of an average. We're so individualized with the way that we pursue the fine arts. If you're going to actually encapsulate that, you have to hit a number of different art styles. And that's what he was doing with each floor of the tower. Um, and but the part where it really broke down for me was I don't remember. You're gonna have to remind me the name of the angel on this floor, Mike. But you literally get on a Tron light cycle and
Yes.
ride
Yes.
the um the freeway into Midgar and fight a three-wheeled Decepticon at the end. And I'm sitting here going, "What is this? What am I playing?"
Yeah, that was the moment where the game really sent me to, so to speak. It was either Azrael or Azazel. I confuse those all the fucking time because there's only like a
Yeah,
one-letter difference. But whoever he was,
right.
he was effectively the acting big bad of the game, like the major like antagonist. That at least I think to what the definition of antagonism could be in such an odd game as it
I
were.
mean, there was
But
a level after that, and so you fought another one after that. But like the ultimate, I don't
oh,
remember which one you fought on that floor. I don't know who the three-wheeled Decepticon actually was.
I'm not sure if it was one of the angels. I think it was just like a straight up friggin' robot that just kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, Azazel was the effective acting villain, but yeah, his floor is like only midway into the game. You don't actually like fight him for real until near the end. But yeah, there's still a lot of the game to go after that. Yeah, I do remember
Yeah,
the jiggling
but I
jelly blobs as well. And I remember even earlier in the game, the bit where you actually get into the tower itself, where it's like there's some sort of like the people are celebrating the demons or something. My memory's really been. It's like this sort of
yes.
eerie festival that's going on where everything looks all dark
Hmm.
and ominous, but it sounds so joyous down there. It's like they have like submitted to the depravity of the demons or something, and it was a interesting contrast and just really artistically neat. And you were just getting closer and closer to the tower itself as you went on, and the scale was accurate. You actually got to the damn thing. There was absolutely no cuts. It all played out in real time. Man, even that was impressive. But then the game just kept going and going, and then you eventually fight totally not Michael Jackson covering the screen while we take on his backup dancers. The character
Yep.
Armoros, actually, who
Yep.
actually does play a very major role in things. Like, I don't want to spoil it too much, but I was like, this is a guy doing JoJo's Bizarre Adventure poses. I can't see anything.
Yes.
um,
It was very it was very how do I put this? I think the way that I put it in my original post was that you may notice a slight hint of yaoi in the character interactions.
A little bit, yeah. Enoch, who his clothes, the character you play, Enoch, his clothes are constantly dissolving as he takes punishment, as if I'm not
Yes.
mistaken. So,
You don't actually get to see your health meter in the game until you've beaten the game, and then you can turn it on and you can see what your health is actually doing.
oh yeah,
But
oh, that's
so in the
crazy.
like if you on your first playthrough, it's all based off of like how much armor you have, and so when you are shirtless and down to your pair of jeans, you are about dead. You have one more hit. You better pull a
Hmm.
Bromley. So
Exactly.
Yep.
uh, but like for me, the combat system in that game was an absolute joy
Oh yeah.
because it forced you to keep switching weapons. Each weapon had different powers and abilities that you could unlock as you went, and you would almost naturally unlock them just by doing what came instinctively to you by playing the game. And I remember the first time I figured out how to like um, juggle an enemy using what was it, the arch?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or which it was the no, not the arch. The one that has the little
The Gale?
drones, basically. The
The
Gale.
Gale, I think.
Yes, you can use those to knock the enemy up in the air and then hit them with it coming down as well, like these two different vortexes, one that comes up from the ground, and then one that comes down from the ceiling. You can just kind of trap them in that loop.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when I discovered that, I was like, "Holy crap! How did I get this far into the game without using this at all?" But uh, mechanically, the game is super sound.
Mm-hmm.
I the art style, even though it like varies from level to level, they somehow managed to make it work with the game itself so that it didn't um, break the visuals of the game. They created an art style where all of those art styles could be displayed and you could actually have your character moving from one section to the next, and it wouldn't seem necessarily out of place, even though it was very bizarre to look at. Um,
Mm-hmm.
because you still had like the kind of faint cell shaded aspect to things. It wasn't as prominent as in Okami, but it was still there. And I was actually, and the more that I think about it, I was impressed with it at the time. The more I think about it, it was so technically impressive that I, I'm kind of surprised that nobody's ever attempted anything like it before. It except for
Yeah.
the fact that you had to be. Uh, I don't know what that guy was on, but it was good.
No kidding.
Yeah, I mean, what, Lucifel has a direct hotline to God via a cell phone?
Yep.
Yes.
It's like, yeah, I didn't expect to see that. Yeah. But yes, I went through a period in, I think it was mid 2012, where I was buying 360 games. Not a whole lot of them, but, just stuff I was interested in. And when you very glowingly praised this, and I was like, okay, I think I got to check this out now. And I remember buying it. I didn't do anything with it for some time. And then I ended up moving to Florida. And I remember one night, it's like, I'm going to really give this a shot. And I got hooked. Absolutely hooked. And this is right around the time I met Betty. So she comes over to my place one night, and I'm playing this. And she sits down on the couch and starts watching. She's like, "What is this?" So
Sorry to interrupt, but see you later, Kate. Thank you so much for stopping in.
yeah, Kate, have fun.
Thanks, Kate.
Take care.
But yeah, she was just like, "What is this?" So I told her, and she's like, "I want to see you play through the entire game."
All right.
To this date, I still haven't done that with her.
Oh, dang.
Well, it's just things have happened, but eventually I will. I did
Right.
buy the remaster on Steam, so
Yeah, I'm so glad it got a re-release so the new generation can experience it.
mm-hmm.
Thank you.
It's insane in the best way. Yes.
Absolutely. I like using the word bonkers in this case. I don't know why, but that I always use that positively whenever I use it. So
Yeah.
Me too. I like something that has a bit of a uh, bonkers aspect to things because it keeps you on your toes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and
oh yes,
maybe that's just um, uh, an artifact of the era that we grew up gaming in because it seems like that was more prevalent in the earlier games.
Yeah.
But there's something about like the um, AAA business model in gaming that kind of averages everything out to bland.
yeah, don't get me started.
I prefer something with a little bit more exciting visuals, something oddball to grab my attention.
Mm-hmm. Now, just to give you an example of something here, Betty had seen me play some very strange games before that.
Okay.
In fact, the first one was Parodius.
All right.
And she thought it was funny, but the first one to really grab her attention was El Shaddai.
Yes.
There were a few others I tossed out during the time, but that was the one that got her.
That'll do it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that just... You pretty much said everything I could possibly say about the game as it is, but it's a staple in my collection now.
Yeah, you definitely said a lot, but there's two things that I would like to say, if I may. One, I forget when I played Okami myself, but yeah, loved it when I did so. Maybe went on a little over long, but it was still an experience that I was glad to have, and I would snark that I think it's a better Zelda game than Twilight Princess, but as I recall, Sam likes Twilight Princess, so I'm going to shut up there.
You don't have to shut up. You can have your opinion. It's going to be wrong, but you can have it.
Yeah, I deserve that. Okay, that's totally fair.
Excuse me for a second, guys. I need to get some popcorn.
Fuck. This isn't. We haven't had a Zelda stream before, have we? I'll just stow it for the time
We have
being.
not. No.
No, that's what I thought. Okay. Well, but yeah, no, Okami's fantastic. I think I forgot that the chief's architects of El Shaddai came from Okami at first, but that would make sense because Clover Games was long disbanded by then. They gave us the awesome, beautiful Joe, one of my favorite games ever, God Hand, and Okami, and then just died. But if we got El Shaddai out of the deal down the line, I guess I can't really complain too much in the end.
Well, I mean, they did resurrect the studio. The studio came back, and they're making a sequel to Okami. So,
That's right.
Maybe,
That's right.
maybe we'll get another El Shaddai game. They tried to do another El Shaddai game, the same continuity, but it wasn't. I don't know what happened there, but it did not have the same vibe to it at all. It wasn't even the same kind of game.
Yeah, I think it just came and went.
The Lost Child or whatever it was called. Is that what we're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah. I forget what that was about. It was a blink in the eye. Like it just voiped in and out, and that's too bad. Hopefully, we'll get something more actual down the line. But I guess we'll just have to see what happens with that. The other thing I wanted to say is that I apologize for that recent conversation where I said that El Shaddai didn't have the most particularly entertaining combat. I'm very sorry. It's been a while. I obviously forgot a lot of the actual technical nuances. I will say it's maybe a little bit tough to work with at first when you only have the arch to work with and things are relatively simple. And there's this one early boss fight that I don't particularly care for, the one against like the two giant pigs or whatever. I think that one's honestly kind of... Yeah, that is probably the worst part of the game if I had to pick one part that, they can't all be zingers, but that fight genuinely sucks. But as the game goes on, when you have all weapons to your disposal and the fighting set pieces get more creative, it just gets better and better as you dive into there. And while it starts simple, the combat does get more elaborate, and I don't ever remember getting bored at any point because for how the combat works, it's punched up with just enough of the set pieces that weave in and out from it. If there was any more, it might dry out a bit, but no, I really liked the fighting in it and the platforming and the bike riding and whatnot. The fact that the game just seemed to know, not to dwell too long on any one type of gameplay, I think was really up to its favor. And I just thought it just
Totally
kept getting better and better as it went on. So yeah.
Now, if you'll
But
excuse me, I feel the need to go jump on some music theory and multicolor Swiss cheese.
fair enough.
I
But
still
yeah,
don't know what that was actually supposed to be within the context of the game, but that's what it looked like to me. It looked like a music staff, and then
Mhm.
just like Swiss cheese blocks that had been dyed with pastels or colored with pastels.
yeah.
All I know is it was
Um,
just
Heck if
so
I know.
out there that it was great.
Yes.
yeah.
By no
I got
means am I. By no means am I putting that down at all. I was. This is so bizarre. I can't. I am here for it. 100%.
Exactly. Some things
yeah.
defy description. This is one of them.
I did forget to note that it was entirely because of you guys that I think I'd all heard of El Shaddai. Maybe I'd heard from it in a few other circles that I ran with, but it was chiefly because you two guys just had nothing but glowing praise for it that I got into it, and I am immensely glad I did, and I thank you for it. To roll off of what Prime said here, the blanderized photorealism era detached me from big gaming. I almost kind of gave up gaming entirely because I hated that era in video games as much as I did. But I am glad that a game like El Shaddai was there to stand up against all the Doritos Ura Milsims and dark like psychological loss of innocence, grim dark ass games or whatever was fucking big at the time. And a game like El Shaddai coming out around that time is kind of it, I'm not sure if the term I'm looking for here necessarily is double-edged sword, but something like that. Like, it had the advantage of being sort of like an oasis of creativity standing out against the, just big brown desert of blandness that I think was really shitting up the medium at the time. But it was
Not wrong.
because that this bland bullshit was sort of like the dominant force in games that a game like El Shaddai for itself, while it provided a safe haven and some hope that games still had some creativity in them. It also came out at a time where it had like no chance whatsoever to make any big sales. If this was 10 years earlier or 10 years later, I think it might have done better financially. But if I'm not mistaken,
Maybe.
or at least I am assuming so, it was not exactly a huge critical retail darling, if I had to assume.
No, it really wasn't. And
Mm.
actually, for that matter, Okami wasn't either. Okami was a critical darling,
Yeah,
but it was not something that actually sold well. And so when it
yeah.
got a greatest hits re-release on PS2, there were a lot of people that were mad. They were like, you have to hit a certain sales target in order to get a greatest hits re-release to be called a greatest hit. What are you doing reissuing this Okami game? Well, because it's a great stinking game, that's why.
If
And
I saw
Exactly.
someone, if there's someone in front of me saying that about Okami, I would smash out at least 8 of their teeth with one of my walking sticks. So, yeah, fuck you. Just assholes. Jesus Christ.
Well, it's the same people who go ahead and say that if it doesn't have at least 100 plus hours of gaming, it's worthless.
And I mean, Okami's getting another sequel, so like there was Okamiden on the DS, but they're Clovers, the studio, is putting out another Okami, so
Yeah,
hopefully it's
yeah.
gonna be good.
And I think now, say you will about gaming now, but I think much more creative projects now can stand out because people are genuinely tired of what quote unquote AAA games have become. They've just grown very jaded by the market, is just the sense I'm getting. So for like the past several years, like more actually genuinely creative and lots of indie projects as well have become a lot more popular. Like last year, two of the biggest games I could think of were by a relatively small studio in the case of UFO 50, and just one guy in the case of Balatro. Those are two like huge things that just kind of like it just kind of proved to me that the era of the Mo in, I'm trying not to call it the 7th gen because apparently that's bad form to do so, but I've just been so entrenched into saying 7th gen for a while, I don't know what else to call it, so I'm very sorry. But the PS360 era, so to speak, will never not be my most hated time in video games. People are trying to deprogram me from believing that it was complete shit, and no, it wasn't complete shit. It was just mostly shit. But it was only mostly shit and not complete shit because of more creative games like El Shaddai and Splatterhouse 2010, and a personal favorite of mine, Capcom's Ashura's Wrath, was a freaking crazy gonzo game that, you know, that one actually had some religious aspects running to it as well. Although I forget if like Ashura himself being I forget if Ashura's a Shinto deity. I need to look this up because
yes, but there's also references to Ashura in the Old Testament as well.
Yes,
that's a very common recurring deity that's there underlying most religious pantheons. But I don't think that the Old Testament version is the one that they were going with. In fact, I'm not sure which version they were going with at all, because it seems to take the El Shaddai route with that kind of pantheon overall. But I'd completely forgotten about that. So I don't remember very much about it except for some of how wild some of the trailers were.
Yeah, I really only got into Ashura's Wrath a few years ago. I did play the demo, but the demo was not the most impressive exhibition for the game somehow. So that was unfortunate because when I actually got to the actual game itself, I was like, "Oh man, this is a fucking ride!" Like, how did I not get to this until a decade after it freaking released? Ashura has reference in Hindu and Buddhist texts as I'm reading this, and yeah, the game does have a sort of techno Indian aesthetic to it. I guess it's a little hard to describe, but I mean the basic premise is that you are a god who has suffered massive tragedy. The other gods are assholes. Go punch the shit out of them. That's sort of the elevator pitch, but there's also a lot more going on in the game than just that. It is unabashedly like a sort of like living anime series practically, but just the style that it takes on is just. Sorry, Sam. What was that?
I was just saying that was the impression I got from the trailers. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But like, I can't say much else except that I would very gladly recommend Ashura's Wrath to anyone. Like, it maybe gets a little less surprising, a little bit less surprising in the course of its development than the very weird curveballs that El Shaddai throws out. But I do think also it takes on a similar tack as El Shaddai in the sense that it is about these deistic underpinnings that launches into a narrative and spectacle that just goes really, really, really hard and is as fun. It's a blast. Like that. was a game that I'm glad defied the blandness of the 7th gen otherwise. I believe it was 2012 that it came out. Sadly, it has not escaped 7th generation console jail yet. It really does need a re release. Hopefully, Capcom will hopefully oblige to that at some point. But,
As an aside, Mike,
yes.
if it tells you anything, you were not happy you slept on that for a decade.
Yeah.
I didn't even remember it existed until just now.
Okay. Well.
I mean, same.
It's a, yeah, it's definitely worth looking into. It's definitely a style all its own. It might not be a style that resonates with you, but I just like, I just think it's so freaking cool, and I would like it to get a re-release at some point because I'm not sure how many people still have functioning 360s. I guess some do, but
I do.
yeah,
I have a
yeah,
functioning
exactly.
PS3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I technically still have both, but I haven't poked them in a long time. So, um, at any rate, I just uh, I just wish that some games that really didn't get much of a chance back then would be able to get more of one now because it's dead. The quote unquote 7th gen is gone and buried, and it will never fucking come back as far as I'm concerned, or at least if I have anything to say about it. I'm just going off on a tangent myself.
Yeah, you've gotten way off point now.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm
We've
sorry.
basically caught up to now, so we should probably start wrapping things up. Is there any other game you wanted to talk about at all, Sam?
Um, there were a few. I kind of wanted to end things on kind of a more positive note, because for the most part, religion in gaming has not been an enjoyable or positive experience for either the player or the person that practices the religion. But there have been some standouts in recent years, like Okami. I wouldn't necessarily qualify El Shaddai as uh, something that accurately represents Christianity or even Gnosticism, but it was a hell of a ride to play.
Yeah.
And so that's a step up in quality. But I would also say, something like Portal
Mm.
is would fall into the category of a religious themed game because um, when you stop and think about what's going on in Portal, it's really an atheist critique of religion and the negative aspects of religion, and where you've got GLaDOS functioning as the deity, and you're using science and you're using your curiosity and what you can do to evade this malevolent, omnipresent, almost omnipotent creature that is trying to make you do something that threatens your very life. So, I mean, I feel like that is more in line with what uh, gaming allows you to do with modern technology. It allows you to be more artistic with how you represent certain things and to be more positive towards uh, whatever perspective you're presenting, as opposed to just using a mythology as set dressing for your game, as we did in earlier games. Um, I would also put I would also like to put Matt Nava's games up there, games like Journey and Sword of the Sea that just came out, and personally my favorite of his is The Pathless and Abzu. Um, they are
Oh
all
yeah.
explorations of spirituality and religious thought that present things in a very exploratory way. And in particular, when it comes to the pathless, which I can't sing enough praises about, it's almost like if you took Princess Mononoke and um, some aspects of Zelda and some aspects of Strider and mixed them all together into a game and the actual journey that you go on as the character, trying to purify these corrupted gods who have been corrupted by a human who is sweeping up the other humans in a genocidal war, um, to try to fix what he feels like the gods have broken or let grow wild. Um, the lengths that the enemy character goes to do that, and the journey that you go on to try to fix all of those problems. Um, the end of that game is probably one of the most rewarding things that I have ever played, outside of uh, the Team Ico games, which I also can't praise highly enough. Um, those also explore religious beliefs and the effects of those things on um, the people around uh, the character. Um, but I am really encouraged by where gaming is at now because we're sort of past the question of can games be art, and we're at the point where games are becoming really, really functional art, and we're actually able to explore areas of the human condition, human spirituality that we weren't able to even with cinema because the interactivity of video games allows us to explore things as individuals at our own pace, as opposed to being exposed to someone else's point of view. Yeah, that, and I may be like going off on a little bit of a tangent here, but I feel like this is more positive than some of the ways that the beliefs and the teachings of other cultures have been presented in games in the past, because it allows um, people to actually um, show the positive side of things. Um, Journey, for example, I mean, I could go on for another 20 minutes just about Journey. Um, I will say this though, like the first time I played Journey, I was unimpressed, and it was because there's actually a glitch in the game. You get past the first area and you get to um, the the section of the desert where you're supposed to jump up on the platforms and make things make the air currents flow for the first time. If you go the direction they intend you to go, things are fine, and you actually go on the game as uh, as intended. But me, with my tendencies to try to find all of the secrets in the area before moving on, I found a different path, and I don't know if you're supposed to be able to do that or not. But I managed to go off to the right and basically cut out a good 7/8 of the game. And
Oops.
so it was much shorter form of an experience for me. And so I was like, wow, this game doesn't feel finished.
You
I was like,
unintentionally speed runned it. Speed
I
ran it.
guess. I mean, I skipped over like uh, everything. You go, you know how in that game you come across different tapestries and they show you what's going to be coming up in the
Hmm.
next section of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I got to a section where like there's this whole um, completed section of tapestry that's already supposedly happened, and then I look up, my character looks up at the person that's showing them the tapestry, and it looks like you're about to go into this wasteland and something's going to happen, and your character's like, am I going to die? What is the emotion that you're getting from this? And this is all silent because there's nothing voiced, but they get the emotions of the characters across in the body language. And, you know, you go on into the level and you complete the game and it takes you back um, to the beginning of the first menu. And I'm sitting here going, well, that was kind of sad. That was kind of depressing. What just happened here? Like I don't. But then my daughter played the game and she actually went through and took the correct path and she was finding stuff that I hadn't seen. I'm like, wait, where was this? She's like, this is the third level. I'm like, I died in the third level. What is this? No, she's like, you died? I was like, why didn't you start again? No, I mean, like, the game was over. It's like, no, what? And um, but and with that game, the way that they did the multiplayer tied in with how the game um actually functions and how the mechanics of the game itself, because um nothing was um directly contacted between the players. You didn't even actually see which players you would meet until you either quit the game or died. But you could see that were other players playing the game with you, and they would have different um, lengths of scarves, or they would have different symbols on their scarves to show that they're there, and they could show you how to navigate different sections of the game. You could help someone else along as they're going on their own journey, and it was a very cooperative way of doing multiplayer in an era when multiplayer most often just meant competitive free for all and you know, battle royale type matches.
And one sec, Sam. No, Sharon, this is not the Atari game Journey Escape. This is an entirely different journey.
No, this was a PS3 era game.
Yes,
made by that game company, and it was Genova Chen basically bankrolled it, but the developer's name was Matt Neva, and he went on to do Abzu, and then The Pathless, and Sword of the Sea just came out earlier this year. I haven't played that one yet, but it looks to be sort of the culmination of all of the previous games' play styles and art styles. So I'm very curious about the journey that, no pun intended, that we're going to be going on with that character.
That should be interesting.
Yeah, and shame to admit, I'm not sure if I've actually heard of the Pathless until you mentioned it just now. Yeah, I don't know much.
It over on the moon.
Oh, you probably did, but I have the memory of a turnip. But yeah, I should look into Matt and Neva's games more at some point. It is kind of a blind spot, but it's good that's influenced and enlightened you as much as they have. I usually don't approach games from that perspective. I'm just kind of it's like I'm a brainless meathead with video games, and yet I prefer a little bit more to them than what most brainless meatheads get out of them, i.e., games with realistic guns and dubious politics or what have you. But something that I can say is that even if maybe like, not usually is it super deep, but there is a series of what's become a really huge series of games that I have played the first three, I guess, mainline installments of, you could call them, known as the Shin Megami Tensei games, where basically the plots usually involve apocalyptic events, demons and mythical creatures from like Norse and Hindu and Christian theological mythologies, all concentrating all into one giant melting pot. I mean, I remember that in Nocturne, the major the leading PS2 game of SMT, one of the secret optional bosses is the Metatron itself. And
God.
Yeah, exactly. And Lucifer is often a large character in these games as well. He often takes all sorts of forms, and he's not usually presented as someone who's outright evil, but someone who you can tell is always sort of acting for their own agenda, so to speak. But yeah, the premise of the first one on the Super Famicom, which to my knowledge has never actually got an official Western translation, or if it has, it hasn't done so in like a larger scope, like on Steam or whatever. But yeah, basically, nuclear warfare blows up the entire world, Japan included, and when it all reforms, the remaining humans split off into the Messian and Gaian factions, where the Messians follow the path of law, the law alignment, which posits, protection and security for everyone, but like it's kind of fascistic. And the Gaians, which embrace chaos, where everything is free, we have no order, and fuck all that. But it's also kind of anarchic as well. The premise of most of these games would be that either you would side with one of the factions and stamp out the others by the end, or B, and what I usually always try to do is split the path down the middle, kill all the gods on both sides, and hollow out the neutral route where I feel that humanity can redeem itself and it doesn't need to rely on any of the gods presiding over everything that just ultimately want it for themselves. I know that Shin Megami Tensei is... I would say it's... I'm not sure if it started the conceit of actual God himself being the final boss of the game, but Shin Megami Tensei 2 did totally do that, and he's yellow. He takes the form of a yellow floating head that looks a little bit like Patrick Stewart, is the best way I can describe it. It's maybe a little bit silly, but these get what do I want to say? I'm just kind of spilling all over the place here. Shin Megami Tensei has really gone on for a long time, and I could do to play more games, but that they always have this religious undercurrent to them, where you can either where you can either follow the teachings of any of the factions that draw forth, or you decide to go your own way, which is, I want to say, the more humanist path, and say that anything else is just not, doing justice to how humanity should evolve. Because it's just a really extensive and interesting and very multifaceted series that has had a ridiculous legion of spin-offs. One of the spin-offs, the Persona series, became so god-smackingly popular that they've arguably, for some people, exceeded the fame of the original SMT series. But I'm not sure those draw so much on religion as they do like modern societal commentary and such, which personally, me, that's a little less interesting. I just kind of like the apocalyptic settings that the main SMT games go for. But there's a freaking lot to cover. It's a series that I could do to get on more myself, but what I have played, I do really enjoy, and I just like the colliding melting pot of, this is a game where, set from Egyptian mythology, you can pit them against Beelzebub, which takes the form of a giant fly, literally. It's just so much crazy shit to be had with the SMT series all around, and my voice is starting to go, so I'll shut up now.
I'll say that you mentioned Patrick Stewart.
Yeah.
And the first thing I thought of, even though it's, he has nothing to do with this, is tonight on Star Trek, the Enterprise goes to find God.
Did we want to fucking bring up Star Trek Five, or maybe not? I don't know.
Well, they did make a video game
Was
out
there
of
a
it.
video game with
Yeah,
Star
it
Trek
never got
5?
released, but it does
Oh
exist.
Oh
my god.
yeah, oh yeah, the one with Scotto,
Yes.
Engineer
Oh
Scotto, if I'm
lord.
not mistaken.
Excuse me. What does God need with a starship? Jim,
Don't
it's
you
the
know?
Almighty. You don't
Aren't you
question.
God?
You don't ask for his ID.
um. Oh yeah, Prime. Persona overriding SMT's popularity. Not too much unlike King of Fighters, more or less pushing Fatal Fury and Art of Fighting out of the limelight. Although it's gotten to the extent where mainline SMT fans are really annoyed at how much Persona's success has extended, because like there came a point where it looked like every JRPG was being compared to the Persona series, and this even annoyed me personally. I'm a little squirrely about getting on those games just due to the sheer magnitude of hype they've attracted. I'm more interested in getting around to SMT's Strange Journey and 4 someday, but my ass is that doesn't stay in one place for too long, and I'm not sure how many like really extensive JRPGs I can sit down for nowadays. So I guess we'll see how that pans out. Anyway, yes, Star Trek Five, the canceled game. How finished was it? Not very, I take it.
I think it was actually finished enough where you could go through the entire game.
Oh
At the
yeah.
very least, you
Oh
could level
shit.
select your way through it.
Oh cool.
But this does bring something else to mind that was never mentioned, but I just wanted to go and add it simply because we all know it. It's
Yeah.
a line from a game. And that
Yeah.
line goes a little like this: All sons of old gods die.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. That's fair.
Yep.
What do you think
I mean,
Grandmaster Mayo meant by that?
well, I mean, if you're gonna look at the religious aspect of Strider, it, I believe that Mayo is the Lord of the Dead in
Mm.
Japanese mythology. If you really want an in-depth analysis of this, you need to go talk to Rodrigo because he
Mm-hmm.
would be able to
Okay.
go into this in much more detail. Um,
Okay.
but I think in terms of like Strider's relationship to religion, one of the things that really um, worked really well about the 2014 reboot was the underlying underpinnings of the religious cult that Mayo was cultivating with Jurong and the background noise of every so often you'd hear Mayo is God, and so it was kind of underscoring you're trying to take out alien, almost omnipotent tyrant here, who is cultivating uh, a worship around himself, and that's more on the nose than it was in the original '89 coin op. But I mean, yeah, fair point. It definitely factors in there.
Mm-hmm. I just felt like throwing that out. Anyway, since it is getting to be on the late side, I think we should go ahead and wrap things up.
Cool.
Well, if you wanted to, but I just wanted to mention that if we brought up Strider, does Cannon Dancer and any of the crazy, maybe religious shit it gets into have any bearing on our convo?
Uh,
Um,
It's a good question.
maybe, or is it too incomprehensible to really study? Because if you want to
okay.
bail it out on that moment, that's understandable.
Well, that for that you'd have to do a deep dive into the Asuke verse because there's
Hmm.
a number of very strong setting links between Strider and Cannon Dancer and Moondiver. That
Yeah.
same setting informs all of those games, and basically, Isuke posted his notes to Facebook about 2014, and uh, what it shakes out to is that um, Grandmaster Mayo and the slaver from Canon Dancer had a child, and that is Faust from Moondiver.
Oh,
So
really? Holy shit!
yeah,
Hmm.
That's fucking
and so
bonkers.
and Kieran, the main character from Canon Dancer, it was trained by, or maybe was even the nephew of one of the Tongpu clan, which is
Oh
where he
my
got his
god.
powers from.
Ooh.
And
Wow.
Silence in um, uh, Moondiver uses a sword that um, indicates that it's from a Strider, basically, is my understanding. So
Hmm.
he's like, it's an heirloom blade. So there's like all these little background things. So it's almost like um, Strider and Cannon Dancer and Moondiver are successive games in the same universe. And so uh, I don't know how strong the religious aspect of things actually is, because that's not something that's really prominent. But in
Totally
Canon
fair.
Dancer, with Slaver, you've got all of that bonkers stuff going on, and there's way too much to try to sort out here at the end of the stream. But
Yeah.
you probably could make the argument that there is some kind of religious aspect to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
But I remember reading that myself, Prime. It says I did read on Twitter, I think, long ago that Kieran had that Tong Poo connection unofficially.
I
Back
believe
when,
I didn't draw that line though. But that makes sense now that you mention it.
yeah,
I don't know where that Twitter post came from, but I do know that the guy that's running the Strider Wiki, he has done a lot of work into Sombra. Sombra did a lot of work into translating Isuke's notes that were posted to Facebook shortly after the game came out. There were developers' notes, and that's where that connection. It's actually directly from Isuke there. So
yeah,
I think if you dig into the wiki, he's actually got it cited and translated.
very nice.
And yeah, I appreciate the YMO shout out, Prime. Thank you for denoting that. I was willing to nod on that.
The
Absolutely.
what?
Oh, YMO.
But
Oh,
yeah.
Yellow Magic Orchestra. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, this has been a very interesting stream, I have to say that.
Very, yes.
Mm-hmm. So, all right, folks,
I mean,
now
I
the
had
bad
fun.
news.
I,
But go on, Sam.
no, I mean, I was saying I had fun. I'm glad that you guys were down, even though like at times it was like, well, is this going to happen? What are we going to talk about? What is actually going to be the flow of the conversation? Had a really great time personally.
Yeah, I'm just glad I had more to say than I thought I did because I know almost diddly shit about religion, but hey, we found a good tack to go on. We somehow barely even mentioned Castlevania, but that's okay because we had a whole stream to that. So,
Yeah, exactly.
but yeah, I had a lot of fun too. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, the bad news for everyone who wasn't here at the beginning of the stream, which is, I think, pretty much everybody. This is going to be our final stream this year. So, what with the holidays, and there's just too much going on, and we will not be streaming for the rest of the year. And you can expect that to continue in 2026 for a while. I've got work to do.
You do, yes.
Yes, I've mentioned this before on the stream, but there is a duology that I'm writing right now, and it's dying to come out. So I really want to get this finished, at least the rough for the first book done before I even think about going back to my usual stuff. My health is another factor. Those of you who know that I, almost died recently, and then after that, I had to have eye surgery to fix a detached retina. which has not been a picnic. I'm
No.
still going through recovery for that.
Jesus Christ. Going off what you told me, I think I'd rather lose the fucking eye. Criminy.
I've asked the question, is the cure worse than the disease?
Yeah.
At least at this point in recovery, it's not quite as bad as it was. I do have a constant low-level ache in my eye, but it felt a lot worse before, especially when I couldn't lift my head up for a solid week.
Yeah, you had to sleep on your knees like the Elephant Man almost.
No, it wasn't on my knees. I could sleep facing straight down. I had to keep my
Not for
head.
that, at least.
Yeah, I had to keep my head, facing down, so I wasn't allowed to move it at all. Because what they did was essentially, and I'll try and keep the details as not gory as possible. They basically had to drain my eye and put silicone oil in it and laser my retina, back in place. And the silicone oil is what's keeping the retina there while it heals. So, yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, I was in intense pain for some time. So, but yeah, and I was down for almost a month between the two things. So, and I think as Sam posted when we were originally going to do this stream, that was the night I almost died. So,
that was a huge fucking curveball that saved this one off for as long as it did. So, oof.
Yeah. So, oh hey,
I'm glad we got to do it at all.
Yeah.
I was going along just fine, and then things just deteriorated.
Yeah. Hey there, Bruno. Sorry you got in as we were starting to end the stream, but hey, what's up nonetheless?
Mm-hmm. And yeah, Prime, I appreciate that. So, but yeah, from once the holidays are over, I'm going full bore into writing this book. I'm doing what I can, but obviously with holiday preparation and such, I'm going to be a bit curtailed. So,
of course, well, that makes sense.
Exactly. But, well, I'm just going to take it from there.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, thank you, Sam, for coming on and doing this and even suggesting the idea in the first place.
Of course, man.
Yeah, thanks, dude.
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys were down for it. I didn't expect it to be like as big as it wound up being. I thought it was just going to be like a real short one-off one, but we ran this one. And we probably could have gone for another hour if we really had dug into some of these others that were only mentioned.
Yeah, exactly.
For my part, I can't believe I actually got as much in Pokemon as I did. That's not even something I considered until we were actually rolling into the damn thing.
It made for some entertaining conversation for sure.
It did, yes. Holy crap. Oh shit, hey there, Eugene. We're about to end the stream, but thank you so much for popping in nonetheless.
Yeah. So you came in just in time to hear the tail end of the final stream I'll be doing for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So, que sera, sera.
Whatever will be. Ashes to ashes, turn, long live rock, and so forth.
These things happen, $8.
That too.
Well, thank you everyone for coming in tonight. And see you again on a future stream at some point. Again, Sam, thanks for coming in and being on this with us.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for doing it with me, guys. And thanks you for everyone that joined us and listened to any part of it.
Mm-hmm. So,
absolutely. Thank you so much.
And Mike, thank you for continuing to be an intermittent co-host.
Hey, no problem, sir. But if I may, I don't think I got the chance to mention something that I usually mention.
And that is?
Buy his books.
Yeah, my other books are still available. Everyone knows that.
Yeah, but I'm going to plug the hell out of the thing that you're working on though when that's ready for prime time. So
Yeah. Remember
yep,
my first original piece of fiction. So it's gonna be
exactly. Yes.
it's gonna be something. I hope.
Mm-hmm.
Looking forward to it.
Thanks. All right. So thanks to everybody, and y'all have a fun.
Yep. Enjoy.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
And happy holidays, and hope you all have a good New Year.
Yep. I still hope so for my sake, and hope everyone else does. So,
Yep.
peace.